Hello, in this video I am going to go over some of the questions in your 8.8 Pythagorean Theorem quiz, and we'll do a couple of them on your own, and we'll talk about the Pythagorean Theorem. So this is what the Pythagorean Theorem looks like. It works for right triangles, and so this little square here indicates that this is a right triangle, okay? So the Pythagorean theorem is this a squared plus b squared equals c squared. And so this is what you're going to want to try to memorize. The only thing that is super important that's different is the c. A and b can be interchanged. It doesn't matter. They're called legs. But the side that is across from across from the right angle, it's always across from it. That is called its hypotenuse. That is always C. That's non-negotiable. The other sides, it doesn't matter which one's A and which one's B, but C is the only one that is always going to be directly across from that right angle. So sometimes it's going to give you two of the sides and you have to find the third, but you just plug it into this formula and then you'll go ahead and solve. So let's do some examples. So before I even get started, I need to remember what my Pythagorean theorem is. So that's a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Perfect. So so let's go ahead and plug these in. So we have this. First, I find my hypotenuse. That'll be my first step in here. So the one across from the right angle is my x. So that is what I need to find. So let's go ahead and put x in for it. And that's what we're going to do there. Okay, so let's A and B, it doesn't matter which one gets which one. So we can just make 4A if we want to. So 4 squared, and then we'll do blue. We'll make 3B. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so we're going to solve for x. So we're going to go ahead and use just a normal procedure to go ahead and find, we're going to isolate our variable. So let's simplify what we can do. So 4 squared is 4 times 4, that's 16. 3 squared is 3 times itself. 3 times 3, that's 9. And then I still don't know what x squared is. Okay, let's simplify again. We have 16 plus 9 is 25. And I still don't know what x squared is. So we're still trying to get x by itself. So in order to do this, we have to solve using our one-step equation procedure, which is that inverse operation. So what is currently happening to it is currently being squared, right? So it's being raised to a second exponent. To undo that, the inverse of squaring something is to square root it. So we're going to square root both sides, and these will cancel each other out, and we're just left with x. Now the square root of 25 is what times itself is 25. And if you type that into your calculator, that'll give you 5. All right, let's go on to another one. So again, before I even start plugging in some stuff, oh, this is the x. Before I start plugging in some stuff, let's write down our Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, the first thing I do is I'm going to figure out which one of these is my hypotenuse. So you find the right angle, the one across from it, so that has to be my hypotenuse. Okay, so we have 25 squared, okay, equals plus. All right, and then when it comes to A and B, it doesn't really matter. The legs, the only one that really is set is the hypotenuse. So these are fine. I can use this. This can be my B, and then x squared. Okay, so let's go ahead and calculate it. So I still don't know what x squared is. Let's just leave it. Plus 24 times itself. 24 times 24 is 576. 25 times 25 is 625. Now, we want to get x by itself. So it's been a while since you probably did a two-step equation. So we have to get rid of all the things first, the farthest thing away. So we currently have this like plus 576 with bothering our variable. So let's get rid of him. So let's subtract 576 from both sides. And these will end up canceling each other out, or 0. And we're just going to bring down that x squared. 625 minus 576 is 49. So we have x squared equals 49. So now we have to still get x by itself, so we have to get rid of this little squared. So the opposite of squared is to square root. Sorry, not the opposite. The inverse of squaring is to square root. So the square root of 49 is 7. All right, let's do one more. So again, it's Pythagorean theorem, so let's go ahead and write it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. All right, so the one that's the most important is our hypotenuse, which is c. So let's go ahead and put that number in there. So we have 15. That's the one directly, or across from our right angle. So we have 15 squared. The other ones, it really doesn't matter. So let's make 12 our a, and we don't know. We have x for b. We don't know what b is. All right, so let's go ahead and simplify. We're going to try to get x by itself. 12 times itself is 144. Then we have x squared, and then 15 times itself is 225. And again, you can just type these into your calculator. All right, we need to get rid of this 144 because we're trying to get x by itself. So these will cancel. Bring down x squared. 225 minus 144 is 81. And now we just have this x squared here. So the inverse operation of to square is to square root. And the square root of 81 is 9.